You know, life was easier as a kid, before the weight of the world was on your shoulders. I don't know about you, but my toys were fun. They didn't sit on the shelf in the package. They got played with a lot. My name's Doug, and I miss my toys. There have been all kinds of toy and product wars throughout the years. Coke versus Pepsi. VHS versus Betamax. Atari versus Intellivision. In the late 70s and early 80s, there was another little war amongst toy vehicles. Stompers versus Rough Riders. Stompers were from a company called Shaper, and Rough Riders were from LJN. In my circles, everyone just called them Stompers, like when you ask for a Kleenex or a Coke, even if it's something else. Let's see if any of these little 4x4s have anything left. I had a pretty good-sized collection of these when growing up, but I lost track of them over the years. When I found what was left of my Stompers, this is pretty much what they looked like, and this is what they did when I powered them up. Well, some of them anyway. I thought I'd have no show, but thanks to a YouTube video from a Shaper Stomper restorer and collector named JD Stomper 911, I found hope for my frozen trucks. Once they were powered up, this is what I did to get them running again. Lo and behold, it actually worked. This one right here was dead when I filmed this segment and actually started to work right then. Magic! Let's look under the hood and see what makes these suckers tick. So here's our little Stomper body here. We're going to take a look at what makes it run. It says do not remove. We are going to be bad and remove. So here we go. We're going to pull these little plastic tabs out very carefully just to get it ready to come up, and then we're going to pull this whole top off. There we go. And you'll see in here it's pretty simple. It's just a motor with gears coming out of both sides, and then these little plastic gears. See the little spirals there? They make the gears on the wheels turn when the motor turns. It's kind of hard to tell with the top off, but you see what it does there. There's also some Stompers that have two different gears. They have a low mode and a high mode, and they had two sets of these in there in different sizes, and it made it run at different speeds. But this one just has the single gear. And that's the inside of a Stomper. The first step was to see what I had to work with and what would run. And this is what I came up with. This one is a Ford Bronco, blue, with the surfboard on top and everything. This is probably the most complete one that I have. This is a Ford tow truck. It used to say Shaper Towing on the side, but that's long gone. And the tow is missing, but the truck is still intact. This is a Rough Rider, a brown Jeep truck, infinitely less cool with one wheel missing. This is a green Chevy pickup. It used to have a light bar across the top that is long since broken off, but the truck is still intact. This is an awesome looking half-track with the treads and everything. Unfortunately, the insides of this one are all ruined, and it does not run, even though it looks to be in great condition. This one here is another Rough Rider. This is a Datsun 4x4, and as you can see on the side here, it has one Stomper tire because I only had 3 Rough Rider tires. So unfortunately, the tire is missing, but it does run. This one here is another Ford Bronco, a black one this time. It's missing most of the pieces on the top and one of the pieces on the side, but otherwise it is still intact. Then we have a couple of other things that I found that will not be participating in this. I found a tank carcass with nothing else, no top, no tank treads. That doesn't work. And I found another Rough Rider piece of a truck, just the top. I always really liked this truck because I thought it looked very cool with the flames and everything, and that it was all black. But unfortunately, I have no idea where the bottom is, and it doesn't fit on anything that I have. This is a chance to take a look at the tires. This one here on the upper left is the basic Stomper rubber tire. That was the one that you saw defaulted on most of the Stompers. It was also considered to be the outdoor tire. They actually had foam tires that came with these too that were called the indoor tires. Most of the ones that we're looking at have the outdoor hard rubber tires on them, which is how I kept them most of the time anyway. Then here on the upper right, we have a Rough Rider tire. Now this is the regular basic Rough Rider tire. It's actually bigger than the regular Stomper tire. You can see that the treads look a little different. They're kind of squared off on the bottoms as well as the tops. And of course, they have their brand name on the outside of the tires, just like the Stomper does. Rough Riders had theirs on there too. And we get to the lower left here. This is also a Stomper tire, but it's much bigger. Some of the different models, I think some of the later ones, had these other Stomper tires that were kind of bigger. They were actually similar in size to the Rough Rider tire. And this last one here on the lower right side is another Rough Rider tire. This one, of course, with the Rough Rider branding and everything. This is just a bigger, even bigger tire. Some of the Rough Riders, they had angled hubcaps, and you could actually have them do side wheelies and stuff too. Those bigger ones were designed for that, and they had these larger tires that unfortunately don't fit on anything else because they're too big for everything else. So, we've got 5 that turn on, but do they pass the qualifying round? Do they move? Each was tested on the floor by myself and Shira to see if they go. Okay, the qualifying round for the Blue Bronco. Shira saw it fit to move out of the way. She didn't want to have anything to do with that, but she thought she'd still see it through the end. Turned a little bit to the right, kind of crooked, but it ran. Qualifying for the tow truck. He's kind of curving a little bit, one way or another. Shira watches, looks on, moves out of the way. For most of this, she took the paws-off approach, more of a bystander, really. Okay, qualifier for the green Chevy. Fairly straight, straighter than the other two. She's behind this one. And stops at the door. Okay, qualifier for the Rough Rider. She watches from a distance and kind of curves off to the left. Qualifier for the Black Bronco. Fairly straight. It curves a little bit. It starts to curve kind of towards the right. She watches, and she gets out of the way. She was not wanting to stay in there, and then it gets stuck on the door jamb. Don't miss the next episode of I Miss My Toys for part 2 of our look at Stompers. We'll be putting these little guys through the trials and see what they're made of, which one performs the best, or if they even can. Ladies and gentlemen, place your bets, and we'll see you next time on I Miss My Toys.
Brr.